So we got under for the Raiders. Let's go ahead and move on to Josh Jacobs and the whole running back situation.
Saquon Barkley, throw him in there.
Eckler's mad.
So what do you think?
Dalvin Cook got cut.
What do you think about it all? I mean, okay, so I think we have a unique perspective in the terms. Okay, we made a video called.
We know what's wrong, right? We know why. So
I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I get how it sucks, but I don't think it's wrong. Like, so first of all, we made a video called "Don't Pay a Wide Receiver," which I think we kind of had a point to it. It doesn't mean obviously you have Justin Jefferson, pay the motherfucker, but there's also an alternative out there. Now, the big difference between running back and wide receiver is receivers' injuries are a lot less than running back. And let's be real. I'm going to name some running backs who signed the big deals. Zeke Elliott, Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Derrick Henry for a little bit. He's kind of in this.
He's the out. He's the.
But I mean, guy. Even last year, like he had a good year, but he got hurt.
He got hurt the year before that too.
He got hurt. And so, I mean, Bell, Gurley, and Zeke were just like horror stories. Like, oh my god, why the fuck did we do this?
Right.
You think about running backs who were highly picked, like Leonard Fournette, never got the big payday. Really good football player. I like Leonard Fournette. Yeah. He was a beast for the Jags. He kind of put them on the map a little bit, but I don't think they want to complain and say it sucks. And I mean, that's just the nature of it. The only way to fix it is to give the running backs more money in the rookie deal, because you give them more money there. Most running backs don't see a second contract.
Well, who's the highest paid running back in the league right now?
Probably Bijan Robinson, right?
Yeah. He's a rookie. He hasn't even played down.
Well, I think Saquon's going to make more than him when he signs the tag.
But
there's no guaranteed money for him. It's like $10 million. So this is the problem.
No, I don't think he'll make more money.
For 1 year, yeah, he will.
No, because
Bijan's getting 7 right now. If he signs that contract, I think it'll be 10.
Okay. Or
something. But the problem is with the running back position, obviously the shelf life's low. So is an NFL player, let's take quarterbacks out of the equation. If you're an NFL player, you're living to that second contract. You're like, can't wait to get paid.
Yeah.
Me and you've talked about this. You'd almost rather be picked in the second or third round as a running back rather than the first round. The first round is what fucks you.
Shit, why wouldn't you just go undrafted?
It's the first round is what fucks running backs, because you have 4 years and then the 5th year.
Yeah.
Those 4 years, you will get tons of stats, accolades, carries. But all that's good and dandy, but you'll never see that second contract. And that's where you want your money. And I get it from a team's perspective. It's like, hey, we've given Le'Veon Bell 1,200 touches in 4 years. How much treads on the tire? I get it.
Yeah.
And there's so many good ones. And I think what we've learned, and the big difference that no one's talking about, is, hey, it's not a running back league anymore. 2000? Who are the best running backs in the 2000s? Ezra and James, Sean Alexander, fucking Jerome Bettis.
I get you.
It's not a running league anymore. So why, if your offense isn't really based on running backs, so like as the running backs aren't the marquee player of your team, why invest a ton of money in them?
Okay, look, I understand it's not to the magnitude of the 90s and the 80s, whatever.
2000. It's just in the game's changed.
I get that, Max, but I kind of disagree of saying that, like, I think it's blown out of proportion of saying, like, it's not important. You still got to run the ball, and you still have to have a good running back in there. Like, look at the Rams. The Rams were able to, I believe they were able to run the ball. It's just the running back sucked. They just were not good.
Think about the Rams are a case in my side, I would say. Look at when they had their team focused on the running back, Gurley.
And they were worse all around.
Or not worse all around. They went to a Super Bowl and lost. Mm-hmm. Who was their running back in their Super Bowl year?
Yeah.
Who was it? Tell me. I don't.
Darrell Henderson. I don't fucking know.
Fucking Cam Akers. Sorry ass.
Cam Akers. Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
I mean, like Joe Mixon's pretty highly paid. He had to take a pay cut.
But to take a pay cut.
I just think look, the days of running backs getting paid are over, and it sucks to say. The only way to change it is when they come out in the draft, you pay them higher. Like, doesn't fucking matter what round they go in. They get a higher chunk of the change.
That's one way, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think a way to do this is something has to be rewarded to the team as far as paying a running back. It's kind of like what I said with basketball. Same kind of idea. The running backs don't get counted towards the salary cap as much as another player. So meaning you can pay him more.
That'll never happen. Like, you
don't think that'll ever happen?
That's too slippery of a fucking slope.
But there has to be some kind of incentive there because right now there's no incentive.
Running backs have no leverage because it's like, first of all, here's the problem. Who the fuck did the Eagles? Eagles had the best run game in football last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a good running back? Do we have a special running back?
No.
Why do we have a good running game? We had a great offensive line,
right.
Great scheme.
Mm-hmm.
When your position can kind of be like, here's my thing, right? Who's the best running back in football right now? Just tell me. McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. He gets hurt.
No, not even about that. So McCaffrey's here, right?
Yeah.
If I have a really good scheme and an okay running back, aren't I kind of like right there?
Yeah.
Is that difference really going to prevent me from going to the Super Bowl?
It's so, just okay, hard. It's
if
hard.
I have Jimmy G as a quarterback or I have Patrick fucking Mahomes,
right,
that's going to fucking prevent me from going to the Super Bowl.
Like, I'll give you an example. Like, maybe it doesn't matter as much with the 49ers, but like a team like the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Jacobs was the reason why he...
Best running back in football last year.
I know.
Best running back.
But that just goes to show you we didn't have a good line. We didn't necessarily have a bad line, but Josh Jacobs elevated our run game.
Yeah.
And that's very rare in the NFL. That's on the case-by-case scenario.
Yeah.
My whole thing is like, there's no incentive right now. Like you said, you keep on naming them, whether it's injuries, whether it's I can have a good offensive line and put my money there. The only incentive is them having the team rewarded. That's the only way.
Josh Jacobs has run the ball 1,000 times in his 4-year career. He just had 340 touches. Yeah. And this was a guy, Josh Jacobs, he's 25 years old. Didn't get a lot of touches in college. That was a big thing with him. Mm-hmm. Barely played in college.
Yeah.
This is a prime fucking guy who should get a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he might be one of the few that kind of can change the thing, but the running, like Jonathan Taylor, all his shit, we didn't mention him. His whole shit. And Jim Irsay is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
So.
And even a guy like Dalvin Cook. Like,
so
how does
good.
a guy like him get cut? Because of the running back position.
Because the money he was making, too. Yeah. I think Dalvin Cook's a hell of a player still.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If they can have an incentive there that lessens the cap hit, they could. Guys like Dalvin Cook wouldn't get cut.
So the team only pays 70% of the cap for the running back.
Whatever it is. I don't know what the exact number will be. I don't know how the math will be. But therefore, the team can be like, you know what? We'll sign you.
I agree that could happen. The thing that makes me think it won't happen is because there's still some running backs who are getting paid. Derrick Henry's still getting paid. Mm-hmm. Joe Mixon's still making a lot of money. Granted, it's not 20, it's 9. Saquon Barkley, if he signs a contract, is going to make $10 million, the franchise tag. Like, it's going to have to be to the point where there's not a single
But what if I put it in perspective like this?
Yeah.
Just put yards and touchdowns on the fucking table. It's like, okay, my receiver, I've had more. If I'm a running back, I've had more yards than your receiver, and I've had more touchdowns. And I'm getting paid less? Does that make sense?
You get hit more. Because the problem is the long-term investment. Mm. Like, if I was a GM, I would never sign a running back to anything more than a year. Mm. Why would you?
Yeah. There's a lot of arguments out there. I feel like that's the
let me
only
rephrase. As the cases I've laid out, I think it sucks. I would love for running backs to get what's due to them because they play a very hard position. I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti-running back. I'm just saying, what the fuck's the case, bro? Like, it sucks. Like, I want them to get paid, and I'm making the case, and it's like, oh, fuck, what am I really saying?
Yeah, because Barkley's deal is basically the same thing that he would have signed. It's just with a bunch of incentives in there.
Yeah, and it's 1 year. That's the key. It's like, we don't want to give you long-term money.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zeke.
I think the only way to do it is all the running backs have to fucking
sit out.
Strike, bro.
Low key, that's crazy, but yeah, I get you.
That would be crazy. But that was a good conversation on running backs. We'll cut that out and post it on YouTube for you guys.